Well, okay. So it's been a while. So let's first of all,
it's been too long. First of all, I missed you, pal. And that's
I
a
miss you.
pal.
That's
When I'm palling you there, I'm palling you in only, an endearing way
loving
from the heart.
terms. No,
Yep,
you can
yep.
tell the difference. It's amazing. There's certain words, like depending on the inflection, the
Yeah.
tonality. By the way, I like the
job.
beard. I like what you
Nice
got
job.
going there.
So
Playoff beard.
on the beard, let's be clear. It is the playoff beard, and it was great. I have to tell you, it was great to see Ryan McDonough hoist that cup. I as a Ranger fan, I root for good Rangers in their next spot. It wasn't his fault that we're rebuilding. He was our captain, so good for him. It's not a playoff beard, and in fact, on some level, I can tell you this will be off my face come 5 p.m. And
Wow.
and it's funny, guys go away on vacations and they come back with a beard, and I think that's goofy. All right, like first of all, go through the heavy lifting and the uncomfortable period of grow that while you're around people. Let people give you some shit like, hey, dude, how about a shave, this and that. But I will say that, first of all, I've never had a proper beard in my life, and it's not because I can't grow one.
Nice.
See what I'm doing here?
I see that. You're zooming in.
Well, I mean, I'm doing it because I was on set with Mel for like one of our first shows after, and maybe Grasso had a beard. I don't know if it was this, but we made a reference to, she said something like, you can't grow a beard. I was like, whoa.
She got in your kitchen. She was playing you. I mean, she totally was looking at, and she won.
And I had to point out, I'm like, look, hon, doll. And I wouldn't do that to Miss Lee. But it's kind of like, hey, I'm half Italian. I feel like this is in the bloodline. I've just chosen not to beard up. And I find that the beard is so ubiquitous these days that I don't want to be just another beard. I don't want to be a beard. And by the way, this may be not a bad segue because, I think the home run derby, by the way, is a beard for it's covering up real baseball, man. That's not what went on last night. And even though my guy won, I don't like it. I find it a folly. And I'm going to say this before you do, because you're going to start this anyway. I mean, it's first of all, it's akin to the slam dunk contest in the NBA. All right. It's a waste of time. It was fun the first couple times it happened. And now, could you tell me any of the guys that have won this? And in fact, I'm going to go one further and say the guys that have won the NBA slam dunk contest, I bet half of them are out of the league within a couple of years. So look, I don't think that the polar bear going yard 35 times in a minute or whatever he did, like that's great. And I think he's a showman. But you know what, as a fan of the New York Mets, like I'm not that, I wasn't like, holy cow, we won the home run derby last night. So anyway.
But that for the lion's share of Metropolitan fans out there, all geeked up today because the Kodiak Bear had a big night, and then he talked about being the greatest power hitter on the planet. I think it was a little tongue in cheek, but it really did not play particularly well with.
I didn't like that
with the koala bear. But listen, he's your first baseman, and it's my sincere hope.
Yep.
That
I know it is sincere. I know it's sincere.
That last night's effort, and again, doing things that are not natural in the middle of a baseball season doesn't impair him in the second half. We've seen it before. I just hope it doesn't happen to the panda bear.
Well, I worry about the rib, the obvious, the rib cage injury that is worse than the hamstring injury. Like a guy reports a little twinge in his rib cage. Like that dude shut down for 6 to 8. You can't swing a baseball bat. You're a power hitter.
8.
But what was noticeable is that Aaron Judge wasn't even in the conversation to be in the home run derby. Why? What? I mean, does that bother you? Or
not at all. I'd tell you something. The only time I was jacked up to see a New York player in one of these things was Kenny Skywalker. Back in the
dunk
day
contest
at the University of Kentucky.
Again,
Yes.
I think he was the number 5 overall pick by the Knickerbockers in the same draft that I think saw Jordan. Who was the number 1 pick in that draft? You know it. I know it.
Yeah, it was Sam Bowie.
Sam Bowie. Portland drafts him number 1 overall, and they'll never hear the end of that. All right, so you guys are worried that Judge is going to injure himself because he gets injured putting his cleats on every day. I mean, and you can't do that.
And our guys, and I got to tell you something, a really just a miserable first half, just an exclamation point miserable by that performance on Sunday with, Josie and the Pussycats Altuve ripping his jersey off. Which, by the way, I mean, Aaron Judge. I mean, payback's
you don't do it. You don't give him the bulletin board material, man. I mean, look, and I got to tell you, I've said this many times. I'm a Met fan. I wanted the Yankees to beat the Astros, however, for a lot of reasons. First, because I'm a New Yorker. Second, because of the shenanigans. And I'm sorry, whatever. Like they can joke about it now, but again, it was no joke. I got to tell you, by the way, we got to talk a little market stuff today. That CPI
that's what I was
number
going to say.
was no joke.
I was going to watch my segue. I was going to say,
right.
Those Astros had inflated numbers a couple of years ago, not unlike some of the inflated numbers. If you look under the hood, maybe it isn't all what it appears to be.
Right. So if you look under the hood of a team that's tipping pitches through a crude yet somewhat elaborate electronic scheme. Scheme is the right word, by the way. Scheme is not a positive word. When you're involved in a scheme, you're not involved in an operation or a plan. You're involved in a scheme. Okay. So remember that, Astros. And look, looking under the hood of that CPI number this morning, there's reason for concern. And there's also reason for, maybe inflation isn't all we should be that worried about. And so the headlines around housing, auto prices. So, I mean, new car prices up 10.9% year over year. That's the fastest in 20 years. You've never seen anything like it. Okay. The used car prices don't even start. The hotel room up 7.9%. So we know, and look, I just got back from a vacation. Trust me, dude. My Motel 6 shouldn't have cost me as much as it did. All right. And it wasn't a Motel 6, but God, I would have, if my wife said, you know what, hon, it is kind of silly the rate I've booked this at this hotel. Would you prefer a Motel 6? I would have said, hon, let's go. And I
would have left the light on.
I'm hunting my wife here. But look, the CPI numbers, I think, have two things, and we got to get out of here. I do think that there's an element of inflation that ultimately is woven into the central banking thinking. And this week we had through the Fed minutes, last week we had the Fed minutes, and it kind of reasserted that this Fed isn't going anywhere anytime soon. And every other Fed in the world is following our guys. But what's happening today is you're actually seeing the yield curve flatten around that. And it's kind of bizarre. So, again, you'd think big inflation number, hey, look what's going on with the yield curve. Rates should be going higher. Overall, not. And there's a lot of ramifications for this. The bank started reporting today. It's not good for the banks. And, that's the sideshow around this. So.
The unfortunate reality is commercial break. Twitter only allows us a certain amount of time, which we have used up. But we will revisit this tomorrow, no doubt. And again, I just hope we're not talking about a day after, Pete, feeling that twinge that you talked about. It's really, I worry about these things as
no, I know you do. I know you do. And, I think Michael Stanton, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That wasn't nice. He doesn't like to be called that anymore, is the guy I would be worried about. But look, tomorrow show, I want to talk to you about my hat. This is from the Big House, the Allman Brothers Museum in Macon, Georgia. I got a lot of details from the road I want to get into with you. So I'll see you tomorrow, bro. Pal.
See you.